game, or as some people insist on calling it, soccer, but its real name is football, is a sport that I love. Football is a sport that I love. Football is a beautiful game. Has an audience of an estimated 3.5 billion people. That's almost half the people on earth are football fans. However, I find myself these days, more and more, I find myself having to defend football. Doesn't matter who you talk to, talking about different sources. It could be football fans, commentators on TV. More and more there's criticism towards football as a game. The common things you hear are the footballers are overpaid, there's too much play acting, they haven't got enough passion. And if you have the unfortunate occurrence of meeting a rugby fan, they like to point out how their sport is superior and played by real men. So they say. However, I can't deny that football does have its serious problems, and I mean real problems. An example would be the gender equality in football. It's plain to see. Like, you go to any football game, 90% of the fans watching are male. And also, if you look at the difference between the men's sport and the women's sport, that's when you really see how bad the situation football is in that respect. If you look at the top earner, so you know, the gender pay gap is a big issue at the minute in business, in society. If you look at football's gender pay gap, it is absolutely ridiculous. If you look at the top female earner, who's a lady called Marta Vieira, who's a Brazilian, she earns £500,000 a year. Okay, that's no small feat. I would give up this little finger to earn £500,000 a year. However, her male counterpart, one Cristiano Ronaldo, who some of you might be familiar with, earns 164 times as much as she does, which equates to £82 million or $1 million a year. And that's the right maths. I mean, for you students here, that just is the right math. So the difference between those two pays shows you just what bad state football is in terms of gender equality. And the money is one issue that people do have with football. That they get caught up on this, just how much money is in the game, and you hear things like money's ruining the game. These kids don't know what they've got. And in a world where there's so much people in need and there's so much, suffering, that excess doesn't really sit right with people. However, that's if you look at football and you just look at the elite level. You look at these footballers, but football is more than that. The real beauty in football is not the fact that there's 3.5 billion fans watching it, but there's also 2.65 billion people playing it. So that stuff you see on TV is only part of football. The real beauty of football is the fact that anyone can play football. It's a sport open to everyone. I mean, could I get a volunteer from the crowd? Yeah, Amina, out you come.
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and there you are. Ooh, you're playing football. It's as simple as that. I don't need no TV cameras. I don't need a team. In fact, I can play on my own for ages. I've been known to do so in the kitchen, trying to improve my skills because of that. And that to me is football. Football is a game that you can just play anywhere. Brings people together. And even when I did play for a team, I played for an amateur team, I had to actually pay £4 for the privilege of playing football. But the thing is, during those 90 minutes when you're on the pitch, all you're thinking about is the game. You're not thinking about the problems at work or the stress you're going through. It's just 90 minutes of forgetting the world even exists. Your only objective is to get that ball into the back of the opposition net. And that was the best therapy for me as a boy. And football has given me so much, and friends of mine have gained so much from football. Some of my best friends in the world, that best friends ever, were made through football, and we're still now friends through football. Like, I won't text my friend and go, how are you doing, how's work going? I'll go to him, did you see the game last night? So football does bring us together, and it does help us, me and my friends, and a lot of other people, help us cope with different issues in life, and just helps us forget. Because talk about meditations about blocking things out of your mind. That's what football does for a lot of us. It's just a case of just forgetting what's happening. But football does even more good than that. As you can imagine, with a sport that's got the sort of money running around, the amount of jobs that football creates, not just the 11 players on the football pitch, but we're talking about the stadiums, the people that build them, the people that work in the stadium, the journalists that write about football. It's just an epic amount of jobs that are created through football. Another example that I want to highlight of how football does have positive effect on society is something called the Homeless World Cup. As the name suggests, it's a World Cup competition for homeless people. It's an organisation that covers 420 cities across the world, involves 100,000 homeless people competing for their countries, representing their countries. And what homelessness does to people is it steals away the trust of other human beings. It isolates them so they're not able to share their feelings, communicate. What football does is it allows you to work on that teamwork, to start trusting people again, because if you're playing in a team sport, you've got to trust your partner or your teammates. And football's also a good collaborative institution. So this Homeless World Cup don't just work by themselves, they work with 97 other organisations. So it's a case of when they come and engage with a football tournament, they also get help from people helping them with finding jobs, finding homes, improving their lives, mental health coordinators. So football is actually helping people get off the streets and regain their lives. And 90% of the homeless people that have engaged with the Homeless World Cup have said that being part of that organisation and that process has improved their life. So football does do a lot of good. The thing to remember here is football isn't a living thing. Within itself, it's neither good nor bad. It's like religion or politics. They're just institutions. It's men that control those. It's people that control where they go. If we leave football, religion, and politics to the bad guys, bad things will happen. And what you hear now, those comments I made about football, you hear them about everything. You hear them about politics a lot. You hear people go stuff like, well, all the politicians are the same, so I'm not going to bother voting. And that's when things start to go wrong. That's when the Donald Trumps of the world get elected. So whether it's religion, politics, or football, they can do a lot of good, they can do a lot of evil. But if good people do not engage with it, it's going to go all wrong. The beautiful game is only as beautiful as we choose to make it. Thank you.